Hi everyone, it's Andrew from RC. I'm just prepping this rig to take out tomorrow with Terry. We're going to go out on to Waterford and we're going to do a little test of our SCX10s. I've got two obviously and Terry's got one, on these Cross RC mil-spec tyres. We're going to take trailers and have a bit of a cart around. Now what I really wanted to do before then is just cover something that seems to be quite popular on YouTube still, and that is an old video I did of these shocks, which are GMade Piggyback XDs. So really I just want to do a quick follow-up to that, so you can get my review you know, a year later or so. Okay, well let's have a quick look at these then. Right, so the shock itself, I really like them. They've performed really nicely. This is not the rig they started on, but no matter. They've worked well on either of my two rigs. They don't leak, which is fantastic. And they're very responsive to the oil weight and to the spring that you put on them. I have the soft, medium and hards, and they are quite different, which is nice to see. You're never in any doubt which spring you've got in your hand, put it that way. Now, the big thing obviously is the piggyback. Now what's that all about? Is that any good? Is it worth the effort? I'll sum it up first of all by saying, were I to buy a new set of GMade shocks from the other rig, I wouldn't buy the piggyback ones. Not that there's any significant downside to them. They're messy to fill and a bit more of a faff to make, of course, because there's more bits, but generally they just don't offer a great deal. So here's the piggyback. The main shock piston is here, and the purpose of a piggyback, for those of you, well, my understanding of it, let's be honest, I'm no just suspension expert. I've learnt what I know from motorcycling, but their purpose in real life, one-to-one, is not really related to RC. Your shocks don't get hot enough, the oil doesn't get hot enough really, and most piggybacks don't pressurize the oil. They're more for cosmetic purposes, I would say. Now these ones do have do give a nod to the idea of pressurizing the piggyback and keeping the oil under pressure, which this little thumb wheel, this little wheel down here, can be turned by hand. Easy enough, a bit fiddly, but easy enough. And that actually does move a piston up and down in the chamber, and therefore does pressurize or depressurize the oil that's in the shock. When these were new and the oil was fresh and topped up and at the right levels and so on, it did make a difference, more like an on-off switch. It wasn't a very gradual difference. It was either basically rock hard or it was like this. So there was no real kind of 1 to 10 steps of alteration. It was 1 or 10. So for me, yes, the pressurizing did make a difference, but it wasn't really a difference I could use. It wasn't a difference that offered me a benefit. So now they're all wound out, pretty much wound out to their stop, and I'm happy with the performance of it. That's it. It works fine. It has bounce, it has rebound. It doesn't, you know, bounce around like a crazy thing. It's got some sag to it, so it's not sitting up on the top of its travel. They're not unreasonably priced. I seem to remember them being quite reasonable for two. Obviously for four it gets to be, you know, probably nearer 60 quid. Can't remember. I'll put some links below as to exactly what these are. But yeah, I would recommend them. I've been very happy with them. No real cause for complaints. There are two things to bear in mind though. First of all, there's not a lot of travel. So the shock itself, I think the shock body is quite long compared to the piston. So there isn't a whole bunch of wheel travel. There isn't a whole bunch of flex. And secondly, it's quite wide, so it needs spacing away from the suspension towers. But that's it. That's it. A slight lack of travel compared to the standard axial shocks, and they're a bit wider than normal. So that's it. Yeah, GMade Piggyback XDs. In general, a big thumbs up. Would I buy piggybacks again? No. I'm glad I did, just to find out. But no, I wouldn't buy piggybacks again. But I would buy these again. just the normal versions. Alright, well, thank you for watching. I hope that's not been too dull and boring. You'll see this out tomorrow with the other SAX10s, and I might splice a bit of that footage in as well, so you can see it. Thanks for now. Bye for now.